Hey, man, it's a working homestead, working farm. We were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the word homestead's getting thrown around a lot lately.
It is.
And I don't as an archaeologist, I was saying I view homestead as when you were homesteading and you came out and you got your 640 acres or whatever, and you built a house and you did improvements, and then you got it for free because you did that work.
Sure.
Right.
You're going way, way back, the origin of the word.
Right. The origins of the word, which to me is like that, that's what it means to me. And
This is also a hot debate constantly. Are you a homesteader? Are you, you're not a homesteader. So, there's am I? Aren't you? How much do you have to do to be considered a homesteader?
Nobody's a homesteader. Nobody is. It's bullshit.
This is the FarmHopLife podcast, a traveling homestead family. I'm Matt DeRosier. On the FarmHopLife podcast, we learn what it takes to grow your own food from everyday people. Could be a college student, grows tomatoes and salad greens on their apartment patio, a former VP of marketing for Del Taco now raising cattle in Montana, or someone who hasn't had a homestead in over 10 years. This show is aimed at teaching you what it takes to make homesteading work for you, that we all make mistakes, we all have bad days, but we can reach out and help one another thrive, and giving you the confidence needed to go feed yourself.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are recording. I can just cut out whatever. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ryan, Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for helping out.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So, do you have a name for your farm? Do you have an operator?
Yeah, we're called Verdure Pastures.
What does that mean?
Verdure is Old French for lush green grass.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember how we found that. Just kind of randomly. We're like, French? Nope.
Oh,
No.
you like it.
Yeah, and it's, it's in the same family as Verde and Verdant and
Sure.
grain. So we'd always thought of this as a pasture farm because we knew that we were going to have animals. So the idea of tying the name to the grass was good. Rather than call it cheap grass farm or neckweed farm or with this other problem plant, German knotwort. Where we have all turned up out there. That's an experiment in cheatgrass management, and then this little winter annual called German knotwort, it's just went insane in that little spot. So we just reseeded it with annual rye and a bunch of some bunch grass varieties, and then we'll see. But yeah, hopefully we'll get back to the lush green grass phase.
Slow process. So where are you guys coming from? You said you moved here?
We moved here. Jen and I were together in Missoula. I lived in Missoula for about 15 years. I'm from Wyoming originally. But yeah, 15 years in Missoula. We were both active in the Garden City Harvest. We were mentors for the Northside Community Garden, where I had gardened for years, just for personal stuff. And then, but we're always kind of chronically growing too much and sharing it. And then, I feel like Missoula kind of hit this crux. Well, we looked for about a year. We knew that we wanted to get out of town, but we were quite sure where. So we looked for about a year, and then we found this place.
What year was that?
6 years ago.
Oh, it's not that long ago.
Not that long ago. Maybe 7. 2015.
Okay. Yep.
I think we came down here.
Going on 8, something like that.
Yeah, maybe 2016 we came down.
Yeah.
But
nice.
Fairly recently, and we'd seen some other properties, but this one, the barn, this one had a lot of nice outbuildings. So we built that big 4-bay equipment shed during the pandemic. We didn't. A friend of ours did, and then we built the farm stand during the pandemic too.
That's the red one back there, and then the
red one's the chicken coop, and then the
chicken coop, and then the one with the brand new tin roof.
Yes,
got it.
The farm stand.
Oh wow, I really like that.
Yeah, it's a sweet building.
Yeah, I like to go see that on the tour.
Yeah, it's loaded with eggs. I'll send you home with some eggs. And then,
I have so many eggs. I'm giving them away.
yeah, I think there's like 14 dozen on there. And then a buddy of ours makes really nice maple syrup. We get some of that.
That sounds really good.
From Vermont. He goes back to his family place every year and does the harvest and then boils the syrup.
So that farm stand over there, that's kind of like a community kind of. So that's not just your stuff. That's
No, it's mostly ours. There's a couple people like we'll sell Jamie's syrup, but like it's 99% ours.
all right.
In fact, I think Jamie is the only person we sell their stuff. It's just because that syrup's so damn good. It's really awesome.
I do really like the good maple syrup. We buy this stuff from Costco, and that is aged in bourbon barrels.
Well,
And so it's got like just like a little, and it's a little different. And I really like it.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
What was so the property owners before you? What were they using this place for?
They raised family here, Rob and Ruth Klesner. And I was telling you, they were some of the original Lifeline. It was kind of, in the 70s, just like a bunch of hippies from the university came down here and like picked veggies and like started a co-op. And so like that's how Lifeline Produce started, and kind of the dairy also. But the Plesners were some of the original members, and then they left that scene after a few years and, just bought this place. And then they had it for 30 years, and so they raised a family, and then they had sheep. And then I think that's about it. And we haven't changed a lot. All the fence lines are pretty much theirs. We put in where our garden space is, the flowers and all that. We put that fence in like before Clancy was born. It's like gross bin in the camera shot.
I don't know. I'm probably in the way.
Cool. That's what we have. That's all of our food scraps we give to the pigs.
Hey, man, it's a working homestead, working farm. We were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the word homestead's getting thrown around a lot lately, and like I don't like. As an archaeologist, I was saying I view homestead as like when you were homesteading and you came out and you got your 640 acres or whatever, and you built a house and you did improvements, and then you got it for free because you did that work.
Sure.
Right.
You're going way, way back. The origin of the word.
Right. Their words of the word. Which to me is like that, that's what it means to me. And
This is also a hot debate constantly. Like, are you a homesteader? Are you, like, you're not a homesteader. So, like, there's like, aren't you? Like, how much do you have to do to be considered a homesteader? Like,
nobody's a homesteader. Like, nobody is. It's like, it's bullshit.
Fair
enough. Like, if you came on to, like, if this land was empty and we were going to homestead it, like, we would build the house, we would dig the ditches, we would, and maybe it's like we use modern technology to do that, but like we bought a farm and now we're farming.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, but in the old days, like, then you even had to like prove that you were doing it, like, because the government would come interview you and be like, hey, what's Brian doing? Is he working? Because like a lot of people would be like, hey, I'm going to homestead this piece. Then they would just disappear. And then they would, like, sometimes they would get it, they would still get it, but you had to prove it.
Right.
And so for work, sometimes I get to access those documents. It's kind of fun. They're all public record, but like they basically interview all your neighbors to make sure that you were like, doing the work it took to get that land for free. So no, we're not homesteading. We're like, I'm an archaeologist. Jen works at the creamery for Lifeline Dairy. She's going to school to do like mindful parenting classes for people, and like, so I would say we would fall more into the category of like hobby farm / farm. Like, I've talked to other growers about this, and they're like, no, you're a farmer. I'm like, am I really? And they're like, well, do you grow stuff to sell? Yeah. We sell a lot of meat. Yeah. It's like a lot of work. It's full, it's my third full-time job. Archaeology, dad, farmer, musician.
Ooh, what do you play?
Mandolin and guitar. And
Really? That's very cool.
yeah. Yeah, I play old time string band. We do a bunch of square dances, and then I play in this funny band, the Bear Creek Boys, neighbor up the road. And we do a bunch of originals and some Eurythmics covers and Springsteen, and it's just wacky. We just played Cowboy Troy's last Friday and immediately got blacklisted.
Really?
For being too rowdy.
Too
It was
rowdy.
Like, Cowboy Troy's, really? So come on. Anyway,
really funny.
digress. But
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I like the little tangents.
yeah, I get a lot of them. But I would say, yeah, that we're just a pasture farm. Pasture farming. Like we, about half of our acres, 3/4 of the acres are for the animals, mostly grazing for the goats. The pigs have 3 acres, should probably be a lot more, but we might do something different for them if we ever fix that fence line.
Sure.
But really, all of this is just in the pursuit of like deliciousness. Like I like to cook. So, when we did the Northside garden, it was just so like I could be in control of my ingredients. Same thing with the goats. So it was like we selected a breed of goat that's like really, really high end meat. Like they're not dairy goats. No one milks them. Like people always ask if we would do that. And I was like, I don't need another daily task.
Right.
It's like, no. Other people can do that and then we'll buy their milk. But like, so we're just raising these for meat. And then the pigs, it's funny. I think the first year here, Jen, my partner, Jen Luco, who does most of the flowers here, she's in the greenhouse right now. But she's like, oh, we should get some pigs. Okay, and besides working at the community garden, like all of this is like new to us. So I was like, okay, pigs, cool. And we look, at Craigslist, and then we see these 3 Mangalitsa pigs. I was like, I don't know the fuck that is. And so we Google it, and they're like, oh, the Kobe beef of pork. I was like, well, that sounds delicious. But no, it's like a really high end thing. And so we like get these 3. And then the guy's like, oh, haha, the one sow might have been in with the boar when she wasn't supposed to. So, watch out for that. And sure enough, it's Clancy. Sure enough, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days later, we got 7 piglets. And all of a sudden we got 10 pigs. Yeah. Oh, shit, okay. We didn't know, I didn't know what to do with the piglets being born. This is all we're just lots of YouTube, lots of asking the folks down at Lifeline Dairy because they raised pigs for years. They were super helpful. And then we just, from those original 3, we just have always just kept new generations. But the pigs, as a high-end product, they kind of pay for everything. So what we get from the sapi, what the revenue we get from the pigs pays for all the irrigation stuff and all the seeds and the greenhouse. It makes the farm be self-sustaining in and of itself. So I can be an archaeologist, I can make a creamery that just pays for life, mortgage, and then they
Curious.
So the pigs help it make the farm not be out of pocket, and we actually did pretty good last year selling flowers. We'll sell more pigs this year than we ever have. We've got kind of 17 ready to go. A couple of people have dropped out, so there are pigs available. But that's Craigslist and YouTube. Yeah, definitely not a homesteader. Hey, buddy, what do you think of that camera there? Can you wave and say hi? You tell people your name. What is it? Will you look in the camera and tell people what your name is? Clancy? Is that what it is? Will you go
birthday next week.
Yeah, is it your birthday next week?
Yes.
Wow.
You're gonna be what, like 16?
5.
You're gonna be 5?
Yes.
Hey, will you leave that chair there, okay? Will you go get your soccer ball or take your bike? There goes Joe in this fancy electric Mustang. So yeah, so that's how we got into the pigs. And then like we found a market for them, and we work with a lot of chefs.
Because they want the best pork.
They want the best pork. And then back in the garden, like we do a lot of cut flowers for various businesses and then just to sell bouquets. But then we have, we'll kind of grow specific vegetables and like certain types of potatoes. And like we try to find things that aren't grown by everyone else. Like everyone grows carrots, everyone grows lettuce, everyone grows salad mix. And like there's a bunch of growers in the valley that live good at it. So like why do we also need to do that? I mean, you know, like, so we try to find things that other people aren't doing as just a small niche. Oops. That's funny, huh? Just finding our niche, you know, so we're not like,
No, he's gonna try to make a basket.
hey, no thanks. No thanks, because the camera's right here, buddy. And
That's funny.
can you take that back to your sand pile? See if you can dribble it all the way back over there.
But first I have to make this basket.
That's gonna break that clay pot, okay? Here, can you take this back to Mama?
No. Throw it.
No, I'm not gonna throw it up at that.
Throw it.
Real thing. Will you take this back to Mama? So that's how the pigs came about.
Were they the first animal that you had here?
Yes. Well, no, we got the goats first. So we got the goats from a friend of ours up in Shodo.
Where's that?
Up north. Up on the front. Right on the front.
What's that?
It's funny, we got the goats. Also, no idea what we're doing. We're like, goats. You know, what do they do? And like, so we got them and like, immediately learned the hard lesson that like your fences can be super tight and your gates all closed, but like when the irrigation ditch is dry, like that's a big gap. You can go under. And so they immediately all escaped. Day 2, they're all gone. They were like, yeah, we're like new to the area, like, you know, a couple of hippies, whatever, are like knocking on doors. We're like, hey, have you seen our goats? And then like Jen like makes like a post on the better online yard sale. I was like, oh yeah, that's like, who's gonna, you know, it's the whole valley. Like 2 minutes later, we get a phone call.
Hello. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Jack, came out.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
You're the florist.
That's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you want a popsicle?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank you.
what? Fun.
Remember when all the goats got out and then like you made that online yard sale post and like, yeah, like almost immediately
Oh yeah.
that guy called. He's like, oh, they're in my pasture. And it was like right over here. We're like, oh shit, okay. And then we, like, you know, we didn't have a 4-wheeler. We didn't have any dogs that could, you know. So we're just like 7 goats, you know. And I'm like chasing them, and then like throwing my hat, so like flanking, and then running to get my hat, and then like somehow we got them all onto the road and back over here, except for like 2 or 3 that ended up, and we were just like,
Living dark.
we were like, fuck those goats. So like they're gone. Like bye. And then like the next day someone called and they were
All the way out the other side of Red Cross.
on the other side Red Crow, and like that was hilarious. It took several of us.
But we learned that they're very food motivated.
Yeah,
Coach Rat was a bucket of bread, shuck, and then eventually they followed us.
Yeah. So yeah, those goats like
Rookie.
day 2 already
Move.
Day 2.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way, I guess.
When the ditch is dry, there's a gap. Which we've learned that we didn't learn that lesson.
We learned it the hard way.
We did, but then we repeated the same error in different places.
Because we hadn't figured out the land yet.
Yeah, sure.
Just figuring it out.
So you guys got goats, what, year 1, year 2?
Right away.
Year 1.
Year 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you haven't even figured out the land, like you said.
Yeah.
No, we didn't know.
That makes sense.
Fences or gaps where the creek runs or...
Then we got the pigs like later that season.
Yeah. We just jumped in. Feet first. I think
Yeah, we went for it.
Just, I think
so that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's. I feel like it's a labor of love. Like I feel really good about what we're doing. It can be really overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
But also it's really rewarding too. So
Did we have the chickens right away?
and salt and chickens. Or is it here?
All of our ones in the battle site got massacred. So I think we started with new. Hey, Clancy,
That's all right. Now, are we all in the frame now?
we bought an old Ford 1941 9N Ford tractor from this lady over on Illinois Bench. And
Joyce.
Yeah.
also didn't know anything about that. So it's like, well, the only way to like learn how to drive it is to drive it from Illinois Bench to here.
Oh my God.
It was pretty fun.
Most of video.
There's some video. We were able to take back roads through Teller, and then we had to go from Steve up the highway to the Super One, and hit the light on this old 9N, and then dive off at Kootenai Creek, and then we were able to take back roads all the way to here. But yeah, it took like 2 hours. It was because it doesn't go very fast. So we used that 9N, and then there's a guy at the end of the road that had all these implements in his field, like these. There's a double bottom plow out there that we got from him. He's like, "Oh, this was made for a 9N in the in the 20s or the 40s or whatever." $100, cool. And, so that's how we originally broke this ground, because that was just like, I think that used to be. There used to be a building there. It was like hammered more so than the rest of the pastures. Yeah, there's like
Nails. Was it the glass? Pottery.
sole of a shoe.
Yep.
I think we found a couple of cement footings that were probably from like a clothesline poles. There and that. So yeah, so we opened that up with plow, and then been working with it ever since.
Find anything good as an archaeologist?
Back there.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, but and then there's a bunch of stuff that comes out of where the pigs are too. All kinds of crazy stuff. Weird pieces of metal. I think the people that had this before the Puzzers maybe had like a small dairy operation, because there's a cement pad or the chicken coop that has some troughs in it, and then there's some stuff in the barn that makes it seem like that they were milking. But it's, I keep meaning to pull. There's generally a good batch of air photos from 1952 or 53 that you can access. I keep meaning to find the air photo for here from the 50s. See what was still going on.
Sure.
But yep.
So, you have Mangalitsa pigs over there, and they're known to like root around and, basically do all the killing for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you just bought the pigs because, hey, pigs.
Yeah. Well, because they're delicious.
I mean, yeah, that too. But So, but you're using them to till over there, like intentionally?
No, that's just their zone. I mean, ideally that would be like, waist high grass all over the place, but it's really, we probably have too many pigs right now for the carrying capacity of that land. That was a good water fix. That was critical water mission over there, folks. We did a little bit ago, but
Do we pause so you can?
no, I was just watching it because when that leak was going, it would lose pressure after like 10 minutes.
Oh,
And now we can water that seed, which is circling back to like, no, we don't have them roots up purposefully. That's just like their area. It would be nice to like recover all of that and have it be like grassy, but man, they're just like, they dig deep. They eat all the rhizomes. So it's almost like we should just do it in annual rye every year, so it's not rhizomous and it just grows really fast. Because those pigs they're definitely foragers. Like we feed them hay. If the grass was waist high, like they'll mow it down like a lawnmower before they start digging. I think that like this breed will only really start rooting around when they need to. They're not like other pigs. But we could use them in other areas, but they're just like, they're hard to move. Like even trying to load them onto the trailer for the butcher, like it's got to be their idea. Like
it's an all day ordeal.
I've got it. Like we built that system of corrals on that squeeze chute during the pandemic. The lockdown days are like, oh, let's build a corral because we're just stuck there, and it turned out really good and it's super helpful. Like having a series of pens. But food motivated, so food's always the lure.
Sure.
But if they don't want to go in the trailer, like it's really hard.
And old stock are like 300 pounds a piece.
Yeah, but an old timer told me once, he's like, oh, just stick a bucket over their head and then you can just like drive them backwards.
I have heard that before.
So, and it I'm here to tell you, it works really well. It works really well, but it's usually a last resort. And like the last ones we took to the butcher, there was one that was like, I'm not going. And even if the butcher escaped, and it took us about 2 hours to get him back. It took us like to the point where like the pig was exhausted, we were exhausted, and then we all just ended up like walking back to the barn. We were like, gosh, come on. So yeah, it's got to be their idea. But so hopefully we can recover those pastures. I think we're going to cut after we get rid of these 17 over this year. We're going to have consistently less pigs.
You're not going to sell us much anymore?
We're not going to, we're going to let that land recover before we have this number again. Or not, maybe like do something different give them more area. We should probably have less goats too.
You do have a lot of goats.
And there's definitely some that could go to the butcher. It's just like it was a hard winter, and they need to get back to weight before we butcher them, because like everyone made it through the winter just fine, but like they definitely weren't packing on the pounds this winter.
Sure.
We have to.
You guys do have a lot different weather here than just me. 25 minutes.
Yeah, where you want these?
I'm in Stevensville, down Middleburg Fork.
That's good. We looked at lights over there. Keep it rolling. Can you go ride those wood chips? But yeah.
So I can see how the weather, like winter, could be a lot harsher here, because I thought it was pretty winter on that side. You guys get all the snow and the rain off the mountains, or it makes it across the highway.
But it's funny though, it often splits over us. Really, Hamilton tends to get more than we do, but it was just cold. It was just a long winter. Like normally we wouldn't have this much be feeding hay this late. which is why I have that sprinkler canning going just to like get that pasture grass back up.
Gotcha.
So we just wanted a way to take care of the land, to keep the weeds down, keep the grass down, and we're like, oh, we should get some animals that kind of like graze. We were gonna lease it out to some horses or something, but then like, well, so meat.
Sure. In your YouTube research, who did you end up starting to follow pretty closely on? Hey, I like the way this guy does things. That this would work here.
Nobody. We didn't really do that much. It was more just like,
We're in crisis mode.
here's like, how do you like, castrate a pig, or like pigs are being born, like what? Or like the tractor, like there's so many tractor things, and there's a little, fucking needed to like find this one zerk or like change this one thing out, and this like, there's some guy out there or woman or somebody that like has like a 3-minute video of like, hey, here's how you change the stilter on the tractor, or you can't reach the zerk plate. Here, try this. And put the bucket down and just raise the head. I was like, oh, yeah. Thanks, random YouTube clip I'll never watch again, because now I know how to do it.
Right.
So we don't follow anyone per se. So yeah, so it's more just like in the moment YouTube stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know if like you were like, oh, I like this so and so pig farmer, blah blah blah. Go.
That'd be more the Instagram side. We definitely. There's a farm in Michigan we follow that has Mangalitsa pigs, but they like live near a forest, and all their pigs like live out of the forest. Yeah, animals just to help care for the land, basically, and then to eat them.
Care for the land and then eat them. Yeah, that's a good cycle.
Yeah.
So like, so you're using the goats and the pigs to keep the weeds down, and is there anything else, or do they serve multiple uses for the land, and then just the weeds and
Just weeds and then food. Yep.
what about using a manure for like fertilizer for the garden?
We just kind of spread it around on the little pen. Like if anything, what we use for the garden would be from the chickens. Like some of those old troughs and that cement pad from the dairy. Like we'll fill those troughs with the chicken waste and like let it sit there for a while. But we'll shovel out those troughs. We'll use that, and then we got a bunch of compost from Lifeline Dairy.
That's what that black pile is over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. You can use that compost in the garden?
We garden and in the orchard.
And those wood chips?
Wood chips, I think, are just going to be, we're going to redo the pathways in the garden.
Sure.
Yeah.
If they're green, yeah. You said that they were green, so they got to last quite a while.
Yeah.
So, what's worked well so far? Like things that you guys have done, things that you've improved, systems that you came up with. Like what's worked well?
The drip tape system that we got on board with early, like these little quick fittings, super easy. This year, instead of buying like potting soil by the bag, we went up to that place up in by Big Iron. We got like big, like 1-ton totes of potting soil. That was a big change. That's been super helpful. Buying pig feed in bulk was nice. It's just all like, how can you do, like I was saying before, is like, how can we do the task easier or more efficiently with like, instead of touching the same thing 3 times, like how do you just touch it once and get the same result? Or like, how do you cut cost on like feed? Like hay is outrageous, pig feed is outrageous, and so we work with Dairy Brewery. We get a bunch of spent brewer's grain, and so I think what's worked is just kind of like slow and steady wins the race. Just kind of keeping consistent about what we've always done, and like when we We haven't done like massive changes, but we just like, we'll just do kind of small tweaks midstream. You know, there's most of the flowers we planted work just fine. We haven't really had many crops that were like a total loss. And if it was probably because of some weather event. But the drip depot is the system that we use. It's great.
Nice. I just put in a bunch drip line from them as well.
Yeah. Those fittings and those connectors are like, it's so easy. We haven't hooked ours up yet. Or have you got water in it yet?
Just the drip line itself. I don't have any of those fancy connectors, but yeah, it seems to work pretty well. And like they sell like a bunch of different, like, you know, do you want it every 6 inches? Do you want it every 12 inches? Do you want it, you know, like a gallon a minute or a gallon an hour or half a gallon?
And I'll show you when I go back there, like how we stem off of a main line with those fittings. But
yeah, I'd like to see all that.
It's so easy. So, yeah, and the farm stand has been great. We've been robbed a few times.
Oh no,
but on our system,
like big stuff or just it's all small stuff?
Mostly small stuff. Originally, it was we had honor system, so there was like we kept like $10 in there so people could make change, and they just put it in this little box, and then someone took all the money, and then we had a bunch of pork cuts in there, and there was like this 25-pound whole Boston butt. It was like one of the most beautiful things we've churned out on the farm. So we'll stole that.
What would that have been worth?
A couple $100. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful piece of meat. And like,
What are you, like a foot bank?
like whoever, yeah, I mean, like if, you know, like we're a farm, if you're hungry and you need some eggs, sure, just ask or find a way to not just steal it. But that pork roast, because I know that they like didn't brine it and they probably burnt it or put ketchup on it or some like they get, you know, I worked my ass off for 2 years to raise that pig.
Yeah,
It was a beautiful cut and they fucking stole it. And like $10, whatever. I don't care about the cash, but like we work our ass off to put stuff on that farm stand, and it's when people steal from us, it sucks because the honor system is like really simple. You know, based on like one tenet: don't be an asshole, don't steal, like be honorable.
right.
Like it's really easy, and it takes one person to blow it out of the water. So now, you know, now we have to put cameras up. So if I have like $2,000 worth of pork cuts in the freezer, and like, you know, like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of cost, and it's like, and it's our main revenue stream, the pigs. And so, like, so that would be something that hasn't worked, is like people being honorable.
it's just yeah, like you said, all it takes is one person to screw it up.
For the most part, I know who it is, but like the people that were originally stealing, they hit us 4 days in a row, and on the fourth day, we're sitting here, right here, at 10 o'clock at night, pitch dark. We see this car roll up, stop in the road, see someone walk behind the taillights and go down the farm stand. I was like, "Can I help you?" Yelled from here. Like lights are on, like we're obviously sitting here, right? And so they were going to go there, and when I yelled it, they got in the car and like sped off. And I was like, because it was the pork roast and the money, and then the next day it was like flowers and eggs. The next day it was flowers and eggs, and they were coming back for whatever. And after that, it never happened again until there's a local guy that walks around, but pretty sure has robbed us every other time. But
That's sad. That's sad that, you know, it's so like beautiful out here. You're like, you're far away from the city.
yeah.
Like you don't get any of that, but yeah.
Something else that's worked is like we don't do the Saturday farmers market. Like there's just like too much to do on Saturday for us to do that, and so we do the O'Hara Commons Wednesday evening market every other week, which like suits us just fine, and we'll sell some pork and some flowers and dried weeds. We have like a coffer lime tree and like all the little niche things that we do. But what's worked really well is to not do the market and instead like kind of work with chefs and restaurants where they know that we grow small scale specialty items that are like, really delicious. We use a seed company. We grow a lot of seeds from this company called Row 7, which was developed by a chef, Dan Barber, and they basically hand manipulate plants for qualities of flavor rather than like what they look like. So we try to grow like a lot of delicious things, and so then by developing relationships with chefs and restaurants, they trust us to be like, we'll take whatever you got, whenever. So it'll be like, hey, here's a bunch of purple snow peas. Like, we don't have enough for a CSA. We're not going to like harvest them every week. But after like a couple of weeks, we'll get a bunch of pounds. And so restaurants that we work with, they can like basically run like a really awesome special. And then they're like out. And then that also is great for us because like, instead of like we grow a certain type of potato that we used to grow for the Mission Bistro. And instead of like, harvesting all these potatoes, taking little containers of the farmer's market and selling each one for $3 and like loading them in, loading them out, I can just be like, hey chef, here's all of our potatoes. Boom. And like they'll run it through brunch or like a couple brunches, and then like the food that we grow through a really good chef gets into people's bellies more immediately than like relying on like the random sale of a carton of potatoes or carton of beans at the farmer's market. Whereas like, like that one person is going to cook them and they're maybe like, oh, this is really great. But like to get our food into the hands of a chef that can then get that food into the bellies of a bunch of people is like, that's what's worked for us. And then, we're talking a lot about the animals, but like, I'd say more than half of our operation is cut flowers. And like we just sell those as bouquets. We're gonna do all the flowers for the big Bitterroot Land Trust's gala this summer, and a couple weddings, and then Herbels. Then we just do kind of like little eye candy bouquets. Like Jesse's Wine and Bitterroot Brewery, High Ground Brewery, Big Creek Coffee, and then the Corvin Gallery, the Cupboard. It's like weekly deliveries of like really small bouquets.
So how do you make all these connections? Like, or is it literally like just cold calling, or somebody that knows somebody, or
just buddies? I'm also fairly gregarious, so like I'm not like, but it's all just like friends.
Okay.
Or like, we'd go to Higher Ground a lot, be like, oh, like, what if they want any flowers? And like with another bartender, we'd be like, hey, you guys want some flowers? And I'd be like, sure. And they're like, cool, done. But like we rarely cold call anyone. The chef relationships we just kind of get through other chefs that we know.
Sure.
Or other restaurants. So it's all kind of like in network. But yeah, we just, we're just embracing our community. People, I'm on the board at the Grange, Rocky Mountain Grange 116. And that's a bunch of other farmers in the valley and a bunch of other community members, and we all support each other. And
I've been thinking about joining for a while.
Should,
but I was like, man, how many meetings am I going to be able to make? I don't know.
You don't have to go. It's like if you want to be a member, it's like $35 a year. That's basically it. Like, and then you're just supporting the Grange. And then there's a bunch of events. There's all the music series, the potlucks with a purpose, where we'll have music that's tied to a potluck, and then like, or tied to a nonprofit, and then there's a potluck and a concert with that nonprofit. And then they get 70%, and the Grange gets 30%. And everybody gets to like dance and have a potluck and like come together in like a big old dance hall. Have you ever been in there?
Mm-hmm.
It's a killer building. I played a square dance in there recently. Big old stage, like big droopy curtain, and like just like a massive dance floor. It's a really fun building. The old Grange days.
What's been the hardest part about all this so far?
Just keeping up with it.
The time,
Time.
the labor, the money.
I mean, the farm is self-sustaining. There was one time we sold some pigs. I was like, oh, the pigs are going to pay more, like one mortgage payment. Sweet. Which is great. But like keeping up with it, when you had asked like, oh, if there's anything we can do, I was like, well, if there's a million things we can do forever, fencing forever and ever and ever. It's just like, there's an endless list of things that always need to be done all the time. At the least, every morning, we got to feed and make sure they have water, goats, chickens, pigs. Right now, daily tasks are like covering and uncovering flowers in the greenhouse, like when our water system going in, and it's just like, but like this is also neither of ours day jobs. So like I'm fortunate that I own my own business, so I can like, tend to archaeology business with this and pretend I'm in the office when I'm really just sitting here or working here, or maybe I'm on a chairlift or something. But like just juggling like my actual job and being a parent and like what is like a full-time farm job. Yeah, and again, nobody is a fucking homesteader. Like, so in that like topic, like I don't know why that yeah.
I'm glad I didn't call it homestead hop life then.
Yeah, I was like, you're farming or gardening or ranching. Nobody's homesteading. I mean, like maybe like we have some friends that live like really far off grid. I feel like that's more in the realm of that, where like
If you're in a dry cabin and
you're rubbing
it hard.
no energy, no water. Like you got to figure that shit out. Sure, I would dare to call that homesteading, but like, but yeah, we're not. I mean, we got the energy. We've got a killer Wi-Fi signal. We got water, energy. You got basketball hoop.
Yeah.
We're just farming. I wouldn't call us ranching either, but yeah, I don't know. Just growing delicious plants and animals.
That must be the best part then.
That's the best part. Eating the food and just like always having a bouquet of flowers around. Pretty nice.
That does sound pretty nice. For my wife's birthday this year, I bought her just tons of, like, a couple bags of wildflower seeds, and we're planning on just broadcasting this evening, just everywhere, just a little bit here, a little bit there, over here, over there, and just like let them go wild. And
Yeah.
see how they turn out.
Awesome. This is the most recent. What was your last question?
What's the best part of it?
Oh, the best part. Yeah, just like eat, like having our own food, having control over our ingredients, and then also getting delicious food into people's refrigerators or bellies or whatever. Like we built that farm stand because, we don't presume to have like tons of traffic, but like I know if you did like a 1 mile radius around that farm stand, there's enough houses to be like, hey, everyone in this mile radius, you don't need to go to Super One to buy salad greens. You don't need to go to Albertsons to buy eggs. Like here's some beets.
Sure.
I'm a pretty good baker. Like sometimes there's a loaf of bread in there. We give away like there's free sourdough. It's like there's some pork, there's some meat, there's some lard, there's like sourdough, flour, like all this stuff. Is like you don't have to
And he goes, "Hey, farmer."
You don't have to buy that stuff at a grocery store, and where it's got like this crazy carbon footprint, and it's just not good.
Yeah.
It's just not delicious.
Victor is kind of in a weird spot because you're like, you go to Stevensville or do you go to Hamilton? Super one.
We go to both. Like I like the Bird Park Market. I feel like they do the best. But hey, buddy, how's it going?
Dad, you just got here.
I saw that. You want to meet my son? What's your name?
My name is Mano.
Mano?
Milo.
Come here, buddy. Come in.
Do you want to shake his hand or do you want to give him 5?
And then we'll have to put his...
And you don't want to give him 5? Well, then I'm going to shake his hand.
How about one of these?
Oh, you can do that.
How about a little boom? Boom. Boop.
Go ahead.
down.
I'm not. You're just being shy. Why are you being shy?
Milo, do you like goats and pigs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, there's your coat.
You like goats? That's your goats. They're all right there. Waiting to not be in that pasture anymore.
I think it's time for the tours.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was rambly, off topic.
I think it's fun.
But yeah, basically we started as gardeners that grew too much, and so we decided to double down on that and grow even more and just get delicious things to people.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like, off topic for the whole structure of a framework. It doesn't. There's podcasts where you're like, here's how you do a thing, blah blah blah, and I do like that, but also there's little stories along the way, that also, so it's not just so dry.
Right.
I like it.
Like embarking on that whole well fix over there when really all I had to do was go shoot and just tighten that fucking what are those things called?
Hose clamps?
Close clamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I had to do was tighten this clamp. It would have taken 20 seconds.
Well, you didn't know because you in your head you see a problem like, man, this is not gonna.
I thought I saw it coming out of a split in that fitting because it was kind of linear and it was spreading out that way.
Sure.
So I'm not sure how. But yeah. Anyway, it's just you never know. It's we constantly learn things, but 6 years ago, there's a lot. I didn't own a tractor. I didn't know how to fix a tractor. I didn't know how to do all this stuff, and I didn't own any trailers. Now we've got a stock trailer, a horse trailer, a 4-wheeler trailer. I think that's it. Oh, this kind of. But anyway, yeah, just learning as you go, getting the confidence to do those things when I didn't do it before. I'll call someone to fix this lawnmower, or I'll call someone to fix this tractor, or do all this stuff. But it's just, it's the water trough over there. It's just janky ass shit, farm ingenuity, zip ties and screws, and you go to other people's places, you're why is this here? And then I think it was well, every time I walk from the barn, I see this piece of plastic. I'm I should throw that away. I've stepped over it for a year because I got other shit to do, and this is so it's this funny constant motion of just figuring it out as you go. Even if you've been doing this for 30 years, there's still going to be how do I do this?
Right.
YouTube or not, it's just you just got to try it. Yeah, pound a nail onto it, or a screw, or tape, or bending things, or breaking them, or whatever. It's a constant work in progress. We, on a lot of fronts, we're still rookies, but we learn something almost daily, I would say. It's good. I didn't know how to take a pig's temperature, or I don't know, nursing that goat back to health. I was I don't know. So you ask people, and you listen to them, and you learn, and then you're oh, I could do that. So now just give it Gatorade. I was oh. It was it just needs electrolytes, right? You're it's Gatorade. Don't go. Don't go to the feed store and buy like the special like goat electrolyte. Just all electrolytes. Just
Electrolytes are electrolytes. There's not sure.
yeah,
It's just sugary, salty water.
yeah, just Gatorade.
That's fun.
So, anyway, let that be a lesson to you folks out there. It's just Gatorade.
I am Matt DeRozier of FarmHopLife. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and visit farmhoplife.com.
Inside of the city, the people are crazy, out of their minds, they ain't got a clue. We gone away, headed west for Montana, left family and friends, all I got now is you. We both got new jobs, a house and a homestead, thinking this was the life, all that there'd be. After our firstborn, you had to stay home. That's when the work got in the way for me. Well, I started Farm Hop Life. We'll come to your farm to help and to wander. Me and the family, a truck and an RV. Send us a message and there